Hey everybody, welcome back to Bros and Shows. I am your host, Josiah, aka Mauler67, and with me, as always, you know I got my buddy, I got my pal, I got my brother, Austin. Austin, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
I realized as I was saying, like, my buddy, my pal, my brother, I was like, I never unmute him, so he doesn't know what I'm saying.
Yep.
I kind of caught you off guard with that intro a little bit. My apologies, my good man.
No worries.
What can you do? How you doing, man?
I'm doing phenomenal, actually.
Oh,
really phenomenal.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Anything cool happened that made you such this way?
I went to my doctor yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and my doctor announced that she thinks I'll be off my medication by 6 months.
Dang, nice. Very good.
Yeah,
as long as you keep the strong and narrow way, or whatever they want to call it.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like I've been that way. You know, it's not hard. After I've done it, like it's not hard, and I've kind of like cut back on being like the really strict dude about it. I do eat some things. Like I went to Olive Garden like Saturday,
Okay.
and I ate a breadstick and some potatoes and stuff.
My God.
And you know, I came home and did my blood sugar, and I was like, oh, it's normal. And then I realized that's like, oh, my body's, you know, it's okay to have that stuff once in a while. My body's just trying to heal itself by like not ingesting all that fat that I was doing and all the sugar and carbs.
To the extent that you were,
Yeah, like it won't be like how it is like with anyone else where they eat it and they're like, it's nothing. It's more of like me. I can eat it, but not all the time because it will kill me. But yeah, it's pretty happy about that, you know. So I've been pretty.
I mean, that's something to be like excited about, especially if you're able to almost like get off of something that most of the time, whenever people get, they're like, "Hey, look, this change is going to be permanent forever.
Yeah,
you can't really change it." But you jumped on it, you started working on it instantly, and that seemed to have helped. That's pretty good. That's solid. I'm glad to hear that, mate.
Yes.
I don't have anything as
cool as that.
Well, beneficial or great as that. I just like I played my little vampire game, and I played Palworld most of the day. Watching a bunch of probably the biggest, like, I don't really care. I was thinking about like Hulu and whatnot with them doing the price change and like password sharing breakdown, which like sucks. We're completely against the idea of password sharing because that's we're completely against them breaking what was that called, cracking down on password sharing, because that's the stupidest thing in the world. We're seeing people to pay like super amount for like across different areas. That's dumb. But I was thinking about like, what do I watch on Hulu mainly outside of just the one or two shows that you force me to watch every now and then. I'm like, I freaking watch Hell's Kitchen most of the time on that, which I can just watch those on YouTube. And so as I've been going to bed for the last like week, I've just been finding like marathons of different seasons. It's like season 6 marathon, and it's all season 6 in one single strip.
Kitchen Nightmares?
Yeah,
or are you
like
watching Hell's Kitchen? Okay.
Kitchen Nightmare. Yeah, no. I don't watch the
contest.
Show. Yeah. I have no real interest. I care much more about him like going to a place and helping them out and like learning the stories of the people he's trying to help.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I actually like that kind. I like his he did a show on Discovery Channel. No, it was National Geographic called Gordon Ramsay's Uncharted.
Oh, okay.
Which is really cool. He goes to like different places around the world, and he like challenges one of the chefs that he knows to a dish of their homeland, like in their homeland. And then he gets to try things that like, you know, he would never really try before. Like he goes to, I forget what it was. He goes to one place and it's a bathhouse on top, and then they like heat the water at the bottom of the thing. Like this guy, like his job is he just sits in this corner like lays in this weird corner, and then he just like stokes the fires. But he's also the chef.
Mm-hmm.
So he uses like a clay pot, and he puts lamb and camel in it, and then he just like puts it in the fire and he cooks it for the people upstairs. And I was like, that's pretty cool. You know. So there's some pretty cool ones. He goes to the Hawaiian chicken place that's considered like really dangerous to get to. Like, it's pretty cool. I like Gordon Ramsay, period. I think he's a cool dude. So
yeah. You described that, and I'm having like memory flashbacks to Markiplier talking about the Korean massage parlor that he went to, and how like intense they are. Just because like how he describes the interaction there and like what they had to do very much sounds like what you just described there, of like all the bath is up top and there's a single guy down below who just fans the flames the whole time. Because like in it, he talks about how he has to like climb up these stairs and like pass all these like weird tests to get in. And yeah, that's all I could think about whenever you were describing that. I'm like, was it a Korean bathhouse or something like that? Like, it could be anything, but my brain instantly went to that. But what can you do, man? Like, that's the thing about different like locales like that. Like, it's just each one has its own like kind of way of preparing and doing stuff. So that I definitely understand the lure to that type of show, to see like how, I don't know, like see like interesting or weird ways that dishes are created, preserved, or created in the environment that they're. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty good. Well, Austin, this week we're talking about something that also was created, was also a situation of a lot of cooking. And necessarily, I don't know what I'm trying to go with. I was trying to like mix it in with that, but I couldn't figure it out as I was sitting here rambling. Austin, we talked about Hazbin Hotel this week.
Yeah,
we watched Hazbin Hotel. Austin, this was the show that I said that like I really wanted to watch because I enjoy their series on YouTube called Hell of a Boss. And whenever this started showing, I was like, oh, we have to watch it. I watched the first episode and I was like, cool, I gotta watch it. It's a musical. You kidding me? Boy, yeah, I love it. I love musicals. So Austin, what did you think of Hazbin Hotel?
I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
Just kidding. Just kidding.
I was perfectly okay with that. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's talk about it.
No. I actually really thoroughly enjoyed this. I can understand where some people that do watch this won't enjoy this show. And the reason why that is because of just, it does hit on a lot of key things of religion and like the, it's a story. To me, it looks like a story, but there's a lot of things that's like that, but also how graphic it can be at sometimes, and just the adult maturity of it. Like, it's not your standard cartoon, so someone might be like, oh, this looks pretty cool, and then they watch it and they're like, whoa, this is an adult cartoon.
This will be a great show to watch with my kid. Oh Lord, why are they saying the F word so much?
Lord. Oh Lordy. No, so
why is that little Spider-Man so horned up?
Why is your shoulders that way? So this is not my first Vizzy Pop. That's the name of the girl that I know.
Well, that's her
YouTube, her handle or whatever. This isn't the first time I've heard of her, actually. There was a short that I watched, I think it was like a couple years ago. It's called Bad Luck Jack, and it's about like a bunny. I found this out because I am subscribed to one of my favorite movie studios, and they have like a subscription that you can get. Okay. So you get like certain things that come in the mail, and that is A24, which A24 produced this.
Yep.
So they brought up Hazbin Hotel. I actually have an email about it, and I saw it, and then there's a TikTok that the reason why I started the A24 follow is because one of my favorite movies is A24 studio. And this guy on TikTok that I follow does a lot of reviews, and I watch him, and he sent a TikTok out about Hazbin Hotel, and like he was like, "This is actually really cool. I got to see it early. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great." He's like, and the thing is I trust him with some movie reviews. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll give this a shot. And I was like, oh, I'll just start watching it. And then you said something about it. You're like, hey, we should totally do Hazbin Hotel. And I was like, yeah, I know about this. It was on my watch list. So, I will say,
Matt, great to see you. Sorry, Matt. Matt stopped in just say we're the best, and then he has to go. So,
Matt,
great seeing you. Hey, definitely will have to. I love.
I'll drag him out there if that's okay. I'll do that.
No, I went out there on my own the one time.
No, I want to go to Baltimore.
Yeah, let's go. They have some great stuff there.
They do.
I just gotta be careful about getting killed.
Yeah, that's Baltimore.
Oh no, I was just saying the fact that it's shellfish crab capital.
Yeah, that's true. Boston's that way too. So
yeah.
But yeah, no, Hazbin Hotel is a very interesting story. I love Keith David in this. I love anything Keith David does. I was very interested in the cast because you know how I am with cast. Like I'm like, hey, do I know this person? Hey, do I know this person?
Sure. Yeah.
And I didn't know anyone.
You didn't know Keith anyone? David. You only knew Keith David. That's interesting.
I only knew Keith David. The other ones I don't really know too much about. And their IBMs are like really funny because it's like these random photos. There's like one of the dude that plays, I think it's Alistair, where he's like in a stadium. Looks like he went to a concert or something. They have his picture of his IMDb. And I'm like, what the heck is this? Here, let me pull up who it is because it's funny. But yeah, so let me keep rambling on.
Yeah, go on.
I like the story. What I did like about this a lot was, it didn't overstay its welcome for that. I'm okay with musicals. I can leave them and take them sometimes. It's just I have to want to listen to the music, and sometimes some music just doesn't click with me. There was a couple of musical numbers they did do that I didn't really care about. I think the only one that I really, really cared about was the song with Charlie and her dad and with Alistair about, I thought that was very enjoyable.
Which one? Because there was two songs there was technically like three songs with Charlie and her dad. Okay. And then there's like
this one was with Alistair.
It's the one where it's whenever Alistair and Lucifer are essentially like kind of like dueling over Charlie's action, kind of like.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah. There was a couple ones that I thoroughly enjoyed. I thought it was great. It reminded me so much of Steven Universe a lot, of how like how the show plays out. A very interesting take on things, though. One of my favorite interesting takes is the cannibals. I really enjoyed that whole episode because it's just goofy. Because they're like, oh yeah, welcome to Cannibal Town. And you're like, oh no,
everyone's
like,
so happy.
They're so happy. They're nice. It's like they're just hungry.
Which is also funny because we see the cannibals before that point. In the Great Day in Hell song in the very first episode. The people who are consuming the flesh of one of the things that gets in her eye, that's the cannibals. And so like you get introduced to them early. I just don't think a lot of people paid like enough attention to realize that. Like right there, just showed up on the screen was the part. Yeah. No, I definitely get it. The funny thing I will say, like I really like this. I like the show a lot. I have been for the last week listening to the soundtrack on my phone because I just can't get those songs out of my head. I think they're all really great. I definitely think there's certain ones that I enjoy more than all the other ones. Like Poison is amazing. That song just hits hard. Same with Loser Baby, the Keith David and the Husk and Angels song wherever they're talking about it, like that, absolutely amazing. And I even I get choked up hearing the More Than Anything song with Lucifer and Charlie talking about like how Lucifer doesn't want her to get beaten down like him. And she's like, but Dad, like, you're the reason why I want to do this to begin with. And he's like, you know, I'm thankful you're my daughter more than anything. She's like, I'm thankful you're my dad more than anything, type deal thing. That gets me choked up. As well as like, I also there's another song. I think it is Carmela song where she talks about like wanting to it's like the duet between Carmela and Veggie when it gets revealed that Carmela is the one who killed the angel, and she's like talking about how she doesn't want it to come out because she's afraid that it's going to cause the one she's loved to die, essentially. Like she's like, I'm afraid, so I'll be their keeper, type deal thing. And then Veggie's over there talking about how she's willing to do anything to stay with Charlie, type deal. So it's all good. What's interesting to me, Austin, is you were talking about the voice actors, and obviously Keith David was a automatic draw for me. That man can do no wrong. I actually watched a TikTok of him at the premiere of Hazbin Hotel, and he sang his Dr. Fessler, I think is the name of the Princess and the Frog song there. And I'm just like, yep, he still has it. He's fantastic. So like I really enjoyed that.
What's really funny about that though with Keith David is every time I go to Disney, like around Halloween, there's a Halloween party and they have a pre-fireworks show and like a parade, and they have all the villains come out and they sing like their songs. And the one that Keith David sings, the guy, me and Sid were sitting there short story. We were sitting there one time and he came out and started singing, and I looked at Sid and I said, he's no Keith David. And Sid was like, I don't understand. And I was like, Keith David's the guy that sings that. And she's like, oh, okay. Well, cool. I was like, no, Keith David.
She doesn't understand.
What's really funny too is, you know, Keith, do you remember like the first time you met Keith David, like as an actor?
Like character wise?
Yeah, like maybe anyway.
So the funny thing about Keith David, right, is that I know him from a lot of things. I didn't become aware of him as an individual until I played Final Fantasy Dissidia, where he plays Chaos. And whenever he started talking, I'm like, this voice sounds so familiar to me. And I don't know why. And then I looked up his like character background. I'm like, oh, that's why he plays so many characters that I love. Like he plays the Arbiter from Halo. He plays Chaos in Dissidia, at least in the original one. It may have been Dissidia 2, where he plays Chaos in one of them. He also voices there's a good handful, because he also does the voice of Dr. Fessler, like we mentioned. He's in Community later. That I like, absolutely love him. I know he was in The Thing. He has a big discography, and I can't remember. The big one is Halo that I remember was like, shocked to find out that was him.
I just watched a movie with him in it that I never watched before. Platoon. He plays Platoon. He's in Platoon. He's like one of the people in that. But the first time I ever met Keith David was one of the worst movie experiences I ever had. And I felt so bad. And Keith David played the part great. And Keith David played a villain, like a very, very not a villain like in like the fictional sense, a real life villain, like someone that could be a real person, and it terrified me. And so every time I hear Keith David, I think of that role, because it's one of the most iconic roles that I've ever, like, every time I see him, I'm just like, oh man, that's rough.
What role was it?
It was called Requiem for a Dream.
Oh, okay. You talk about the movie a lot.
Yeah, it's one of my.
That's the one with the baby on the ceiling.
No, that is Trainspotting.
Okay.
Requiem for a Dream with Jared Leto and Demon Waynes
Yeah,
and the drug addicts.
Yeah, I remember it being about like drug addicts. I thought the Requiem for the Dream was like him on drugs and he looks up and sees a baby.
That's Train Spotting. Yeah,
that was Train Spotting. Okay.
Yeah. But no, that one he plays like a heroin dealer that like forces like terrible things on people because that they need their fix, so he'll make them do certain things to like get paid and money. So, but Keith David played the great part. It's just like every time I hear him, like I just think of this role, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. But past all that,
yeah.
So what else?
Keith David, fantastic. There is one voice actor from Steven Universe, Austin. That is brazen, easy to identify instantly. If you recognize their voice, did you recognize the character's voice? It's Mimsy. You remember Mimsy? At the end of the Father Lucifer song, a woman breaks her and is like, "It's me, Mimsy." She gets all over the place. Everyone on TikTok freaking hates her guts because they feel like she jumped in and ruined that song. Surprise! I love Mimsy. I get very hard Peridot vibes from her. And by what I mean by that is, one, she just does not understand social decorums, and she's very much like high and mighty over people a lot of times, but she is completely using people and everyone kind of hates her, kind of like everyone kind of had an issue with Peridots for most of the time. But no, that Mimsy is done by, I had her up and then I scrolled.
Wait a minute.
I lost it.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, you recognize her if you
is it Spinell? Is it Spinell?
That is the voice actress of Spinell.
Okay, because I'm trying to think that. Okay.
Yeah, she is the voice actor of Spinell. And once I started hearing her, I'm like, she sounds really familiar. And then looked it up and I was like, yep, that's why. The other person is the guy who plays Adam. A lot of people, like, if you're a theater kid right now, you recognize the person instantly. If you're not a theater kid, you don't really know who he is. And
are you talking about the guy from Beetlejuice?
Yeah. I'm looking up his exact name.
I forget who he played on here, but he played on Beetlejuice the play. It's Alex Brightman.
Is it Alex Brightman? I want to be.
Yeah, he played Sir Penduous. He was the snake.
Yeah.
Which is my favorite character.
No, he. Hold up. Is this a misunderstanding? Okay. Yeah. So no, he voices multiple characters. How I recognize his voice was Adam, the angel, which is much more closer to his voice whenever he does Beetlejuice on stage, whenever he plays the character. I'll be honest, I did not know that he was Serpentis.
Yeah, I love Serpentis.
I did
He's
not
one of my favorite.
Catch that.
He's my favorite character next to Alistair. Those are like, but I like Serpentis because his death is amazing. I love his death in the show.
To be fair, right? Yeah. When I watched it and that happened, I went, huh. There's two ways you can kind of surprise me in like shows and whatnot. It's when you do something that is so like abrupt that it's comical, and there's also whenever it's like done in a way that is both comical and just kind of like earth-shattering, that you're like, that was a moment for me, because I really like Serpentis too. I loved him, and like whenever he started like, "I love you, chair," I'm like, oh, he's going to like he's going to like sacrifice himself against Adam. And then he gets in the ship and I was like, oh, he's going the Napoleon Bonaparte method. Like, I guess it makes sense with all the stuff. And then he just instantly, like, there wasn't a big like explosion and you see it crash. It just disintegrates.
Yep.
And then Adam is just like, oh, that could have been bad. I was heartbroken with that, and I was like, he was definitely a character that I felt like, I think in the first episode no one liked him. By the end of the first episode, everyone loved him. Like,
I liked him when I first met him just because of how ridiculous he was. I like characters that's like, oh, you're my arch nemesis. I was like, oh my gosh. And then later on, Cherry Bomb was like, oh, it's you, my arch nemesis. I like those kind of characters because they're stupid. And I like his enthusiasm. It was great.
I love the whole thing where he goes like, yeah, thank you for leaving yourself open. He grabs like a tear off of it, and there's like the big explosion. And then later, whenever he gets me back up, he's like, here you go. He's like, wow, this was a good mount. This must have meant a lot to you. And then he just burns it in front of him.
Yep. That or like his minions are great. Like I love the little eggs. It's like, he's like, boss, thank you. I almost scrambled myself. You know?
Like, they say crazy crap all the time. How was I supposed to know this part was real? Bank accounts were created by the deep state.
By the dark government to keep us in check. Say it, look. Yeah, I know. And actually, in reality, I think he's the one, you know, like they focus a lot on angel dust, like becoming like redeemed, like being a redeemed soul. But I think he was more of a redeemed soul. And like it shows that later on because we know where he went. He didn't die like forever. He went to heaven, you know, because like he shows up at heaven at the end. I was like, that's pretty cool.
I think
self-sacrifice.
Well, I think what that it kind of like shows to a degree, and this is kind of like me analyzing it more than anything else, is like Serpentis went through the steps to actually have a kind of like a soul change, because he's not like bound by anything other than his pride, almost, it seems, or whatever like his cardinal thing is. But Angel is a lot more like dynamic person with a lot of different moving parts that kind of like hold him in place. Serpentis was very much an individual, I think, that never got a chance to be individualized for himself. And so having all that stuff kind of happen, it was just more natural. And I think the reason why they focus more on angel dust is because I think Charlie viewed Angel as more of a like, oh, you are in the works of doing this. Serpentis is going to take a long time, but she didn't understand that Serpentis takes a lot less because Charlie has a lot of baggage that they have to go through first. And that's why I really like it. But Austin, before we start talking individual characters, I do want to talk about the overall story before we kind of dive in a little harder into that, even though sorry, like 30 minutes in and we've been talking about voice actors because it's a musical. Okay, music is fun, music is great, and I'm going to sit here and talk about it because I really enjoyed it. Austin, the whole theme of the movie, the not movie, TV show, the overall plot or everything of that sort, what did you kind of like think about it, or think like the pacing and all that stuff?
I enjoyed the pacing. There was times where it was slow a little bit, but I did like the overarching storyline of like this, you know, this woman, well, this hotel is trying to redeem souls for heaven. It kind of reminds me, like I said, like it's like Good Omens in a way. It kind of feels like that way, that vibe in a way of like, you know, but the thing is, it's like I like that, you know, because like how Good Omens show is like angels are as bad as demons too, because of like, you know, their pride and everything like that. And then you have like these demons that are just like, but what I liked about it was you know, so what I liked is like I did like the twist that they had towards the end of the show with Charlie's girlfriend. I thought that was really well done.
Which also it was also super obvious too once it was like pointed out, and you're like, well, okay, don't say that to me, that just makes me feel bad for not realizing it from the get-go. I didn't have a hard time looking at these angels.
No, that's the thing, like I kind of was like, well, it's kind of a normal twist, but it was well done. Like I didn't pick up on it until like close to the end, and then when I started doing it, I was like, oh, you know, when she, you know, he comes in and like, well, she doesn't know your secret. I was like, oh, that's why she doesn't want to be in heaven, because she used to belong here probably. And then it's like, oh yeah, she's an angel. But the overarching story, I actually enjoyed a lot. I think I like the premise of it, where it's like, trying to redeem a soul. And I liked how, and it goes through this frustrating thing sometimes where it's like always, hi. Not yet. I'm doing a podcast. So then.
This is filmed from a live studio.
Live studio audience. But no. I like the premise of it. I really enjoyed the storytelling that was had. I did feel like there was some stuff that I think dragged on a little bit longer than I wanted, but it was pretty well done. Like it was enjoyable. This is something I'll probably watch again. Like it's something that I'll probably keep watching. And they left us off on like a great, little cliffhanger thing where they're like, hey, things happened. Like, Alistair is doing some things.
Alistair's doing stuff. Serpentis is now in heaven. They contacted some mysterious woman that people have still been debating the whole time on the internet, whether it's Adam, well, if it's Eve or Lilith.
Who is Charlie's mom? Isn't it
Lilith? It's
Lilith. Yeah, it's Lilith. It's Lilith.
I definitely have like thoughts on all that stuff and like the broad story of it that we can talk about later. But yeah, whenever I recommended this, I knew there was going to be a lot of like cursing and from the perspective of the new age like Christian back when we were like in high school, like that type of church and kind of, they would like pearl clutch and be like, this is a blasphemous show, you shouldn't watch this. Angels are saying the F word and the C word.
Hide your magic cards and your Digimon cards and your heavy rock music.
Have it. But like the whole concept of like hell being like, yeah, no, it's a terrible place where all these people have gone to, but why can't they change their ways and go up to heaven after something? Like what makes this eternal, essentially? And so it's a very fun and interesting idea to me. I also just really like the hierarchy that the creator created for hell in both Hell of the Bosses and Hazbin Hotel. I really enjoy. I feel like each of the songs in the series is modeled after another style of musical song. Like I very much believe like a Great Day in Hell, the first song, or Beautiful Day in Hell. That song is super Disney coded. Like it reminds me of 100% of like Elsa or Belle running through the city in the very beginning, talking about how beautiful and amazing everything is and how like it's going to be a beautiful day, blah 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 blah. But it's done in her perspective. Gosh, man, nothing hits harder, dude, than when Adam interrupts her song and starts singing about hell is forever. Like, that's a freaking banger. I love that. Love that song. Each of the song is just kind of like done in a certain style, which I thought was really good. Even the Sorry song that she sings with Serpentis about it. Like that got me choked up because I just started thinking about it's just like, yeah, no, it does start with sorry. That's where you have to start. That's the best advice you can give a person like him, like just to say sorry. And it's fantastic. And the different plots and characters that kind of go on through the show is done in a way that I feel you feel like I feel like you really get to know each character outside of one main character, in my opinion, and that's Nifty. That psychotic little girl, I have no idea what she is on about, but she's going to be important in some way.
Yeah,
either she's hilarious to me. I find her absolutely hilarious, especially whenever she falls in love with Serpentis because he's a bad boy, and then she hears the song. The ending of that song is so beautiful. Whenever he finishes it, she's like, I hated that song. you're not a bad boy. She kicks him and walks off. Like, absolutely hilarious to me. Like, that's such a well like timed joke. But like, I noticed that in the Cannibal song, Charlie uses the I think it was like what 1940 slogan to get guys to join the war. That it's like, join up now if you like trouble. Join up now if you like travel. Come on, boys, hop in the saddle. Like, that is straight up what they would say at those like Captain America-esque like parties to get people to join up. And yeah, I really liked the music in this. Gosh, man, they're bangers. I listen to them a lot. Alistair is the biggest question mark on like what is his connections, what is his powers, who is he bound to, like Huss mentions to him. You kind of get told of most other people, but also Alistair's voice really scratches a bit of my brain. I don't know what it is, but when that like radio music sound, like old 1940s radio music talks, that like hits something in the back of my brain. I'm like, yeah, I could listen to a long time to someone with that like sound effect over their voice. Don't know why, just it works. I enjoy it. So I really enjoy it. So Austin, what do you think about the ending per se, with how like what's set up in the show? Like, how do you think they're going to continue? Because obviously this is season 1. I believe they're already playing more seasons. What do you think is going to happen, go on from here? Or do you have any thought process on that?
I think maybe what they're going to do is they're going to have the Sir, I forget his name, Serpentis. I think Serpentis is going to be
play on words.
Yeah. I think Serpentis. Yeah, that's fine. I just realized that. Sir Penis. No, I'm just kidding. Serpentis, actually, what's really funny, I think after we saw that little like snippet of it, I think we are seeing Serpentis is going to be the one that they will show that has entered heaven, is because he has finally been a redeemable soul.
Yeah.
But who made that decision? And I think who makes that decision is actually the one Seraphim, like the one that actually was. So there was 2 Seraphins. There was like the younger one and then the older one.
Sarah. Sarah's the younger one.
Yeah, and I think the older one actually is going to be the one that actually brought him in to that, and to redeem herself for like what she did with the exterminations and stuff. But also, I think the ending where we show Lilith, I think the problem is, I think what the rest of the season's going to be like coming on is this is the end times. Because now soul from hell can be redeemed. And so I think that there's going to be this all-out war that's going to lead to like, demons entering heaven and becoming angels or whatever they are now. I think that they're going to be angels. And it's going to start this huge, massive war between like people classifying each other as like, well, you're just someone that was saved instead of like living in the real world and becoming like someone in heaven kind of deal. I don't know.
So you say that, right? And because like hell has a hierarchy, right? If you like watch Hell of the Bosses and everything, for a fact, like you have the hell spawns, which aren't souls, like they were born in hell. Like Razzle and Dazzle were created in hell. I believe it's like what the imps and hellhounds were created in hell, which the Hell of the Boss TV show or show on YouTube that follows them, like those lower born demons. I don't think that those characters can be redeemed in heaven as we know of. We just found out that Serpentis was able to be redeemed. And if Serpentis was a real soul type deal thing and he got redeemed, cool. If Serpentis was like a different being than that and he got redeemed, that's a whole different answer and question. I find it funny that you think it's the older one that did it. I personally think that's none of the angels did it. Like, they didn't do anything. Serpentis just like filled in like something that allowed him to be taken up to heaven, and they don't understand, because like there's that one point in the song called like You Don't Know, where not Sarah but the other one, I forget what the older ones, like Sarah, like they're both play on words on like seraphim, but the older one basically explained that it's like it's more complicated than that. It's not all in ink, right? So I assume what the whole point of that whole song and point was supposed to do was to show like they don't freaking know what makes them different than like the demons. They don't know the actual like guidelines for who goes to heaven and who goes to hell. So here's my first thing from the takeaway of Serpentis, right? The whole ending takeaway and everything I sort of. One, Serpentis was redeemed because he was willing to do the one thing that he never did before. Up to that point, he was very much like sacrificing his eggs to do everything and survive at all costs. He wanted to sacrifice himself for his friends to just like stop them, like do everything in his power, which made him redeemed. If the very act of you willing to like self-sacrifice yourself is enough to like get into heaven, there's a lot of characters that are on the block to get sent up to heaven as well. Carmine, the one who killed the angel to protect her kids, 100% on the block. Lucifer himself is on the block if he very much would die to protect Charlie. I think Charlie and Vaggie are Vaggie. There's a whole joke from Adam about that, and I couldn't get over like the concept of that I'm like, this is the stupidest thing in the world if that's true. Like they very much could. I think Charlie would definitely sacrifice herself to protect someone. What I can see happening is that Sarah, the one Seraphim, starts questioning heaven so much that she gets kicked out of heaven and goes to hell. Kind of very much how Lucifer got kicked out of heaven and went to hell as well. And that's what scares the oldest angel the most, is knowing that like a little Sarah would fall. And if two angels fall, if one angel falls, well, what was this from? I think this is from, is it from Bad Omen? It is from Bad Omen. It is from Bad Omen season 2, where he said like, if one person fall, it's a problem. If two angels fall, it's systemic. Like it is part of the system is flawed. And so that's why I think the dude said like, you know, Aziraphale couldn't be kicked out of heaven. And instead he needs to be like reconnected type of thing. It's something like that. I think it was Bad Omens. Something to that I agree, but it's like the same concept. If another angel falls from heaven, that's a thing. There is also a thing that I noticed as well, is the whole 7-year treatment throughout the show. A lot of characters disappeared 7 years ago. Something happened 7 years ago. Alistair disappeared for 7 years. Lilith disappeared 7 years ago. Hi Molly, great of you to join. And so like there's a side of me that thinks they like did something to try and fight heaven and they failed, and Lilith was actually like essentially like redeemed to heaven for her willing to change or fight something some way. I don't know exactly, but I'm thinking if that person at the end of the show is Lilith, then she's up in heaven because she did something or made a deal with something, and that's what made her alive in heaven, or able to live in heaven. And she is like this big problem for heaven if that's true, and that's why they're kind of keeping her away. But if that's Eve, then it would make sense for her to get pulled into the fray because Adam got murdered. Which, let's be fair, no one's really sad that Adam got murdered. We're more sad that the songs that he sings are done, because, dude, does that voice hit hard. The other thing I kind of like took note, right, is there's a side of me that thinks Alistair is possibly indebted to Lilith to help Charlie. because like the whole concept of him being like, yeah, I won't be here for this doesn't make a lot of sense. But whenever you connect that both Alistair and Lilith disappeared 7 years ago, I could see that being like a stipulation that like Alistair got saved or protected some way, and his debt is to essentially like help Charlie or protect Charlie in some way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of things that are in the air to like try and like figure stuff out. And yeah, there's also like a theory going around too. Sorry if I'm just sitting here theory crafting now, because whenever I like a show like this, I will sit here and rant about this idea that if sinners can be redeemed in heaven, can angels be forsaken to hell? And the thought process is that maybe next season we'll see a demon Adam, from him getting essentially reincarnated down there, because Adam was a piece of trash. Like, Adam spits in the face of what like everyone says heaven is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
sticking it to the man.
Sticking it to the man is one of the. That was such a stupid bit in the show, but
he was a frat boy.
He was
exactly
100%.
A frat boy. Yeah.
100%. Him and the other angels were very much like that, but there was an Easter egg I saw, which if like you're a fan of the artist and like you watch their streams and everything, you could see that Angel Dust's like character name is Anthony, but in the Heaven song there is a character that looks very similar to Angel Dust there, and it's his sister that was originally meant to be like a yin yang kind of setup with him. But if she's in heaven, I wonder what that means. So who knows? And then there's also the Dazzle conspiracy. The little like lamb thing that Charlie had that dies at the end of the last season. Molly, you are so affectionate right now. I just cannot stop petting you. That in the song of the Best Dad, he mentions that he normally charges a sacrificial lamb, but she gets the family rate. In the ending episode, whenever she summons Razzle Dazzle to like become these like deer demon, and then Dazzle gets like murdered by the one angel, Lucifer suddenly appears the scene after. And so the whole idea is that like him dying, Dazzle's dying was the sacrificial lamb to get Lucifer to help her. And it's like, I mean, if they did that, that's cool. If anything, it's a foreshadowing to his death. And pretty intense. And a lot of people are thinking that a lot of the songs has like hidden clues for what will happen to each character. Yeah. But it's still on the air. I love the show. I could sit here and talk about it for a while. I am 100% like in it that I'm like, yeah, I want to just sit here and talk and just ramble and rant about all the possible things. But I don't want to do that to you, Austin. I don't want to do that to people watching to just hear me be like, so here's the other conspiracy theory, right? Like,
well,
no, I could mean.
So you're like Charlie Day. Like,
yeah.
You know, the meme where you're just like, it's all connected somewhere.
Oh, 100%. Like whenever Vaggie got her wings back, my brain's like, oh, does this mean that she has like technically, theoretically, Vaggie should have the same authority as Lucifer does, because she's a fallen angel that's the same way as Lucifer is. Now, I assume Lucifer is a higher ranking angel than her, but the function of falling angel to hell, I think, would instantly make her a high ranking demon. But yeah, sorry, doing it again. I'm entering in that bit. But Austin, what else do you like about the show? Did you like the show? Sorry, yeah, I took over a lot there.
No worries. Yeah, no, I like the show, and I hope, I know it's gonna get a second season, because it's one of the biggest things that hit because I hear people talk about it all the time. So
seen it all over TikTok.
It's all over TikTok. And then plus, what was it? I've seen 3 posts of Adam, like with his. He was like, there's like a scene where he's like fighting and shooting, his blade thing, but it looks like a keyblade. So like I'm part of the. Like,
oh no, that's Lucifer. Yeah. That's Lucifer. Whenever he's repairing the stuff,
Yeah.
Everyone's been like taking pictures of that and be like, "Oh, confirmed for Kingdom Hearts 5."
Yeah, I've seen like Lucifer is now he's the Keyblade wielder. And I'm like, yep, there it is. So yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of those little like jokes and gaffes in this that I really enjoy. Like the whole concept of the V. I watched a video about a guy explaining how the V's, how they spelled V, is V as in like the polyamorous relationship between multiple individuals. And at the end of the season, it's confirmed that Val is in a relationship with Valentino, or whatever the one TV is called. The main TV guy's name is in a relationship with Valentino. But then in the one episode with the woman, I forget her name. Oh, it's Vox, Val, and the other one. Oh, I forget her name. She has a great song, but in the behind her you see her like social media posts, and one of them is talking about her and Valentino being together, and so they're like, they must be some form of polyamorous relationship, which makes sense of them using the term V for their group, because that's a term for a poly group. And I was like, didn't know that. And then the whole joke about Alistair, I've been seeing that all over my feed too. Whenever he's talking to the Campbell thing, she's like, "Now, Alistair, she's much too young for you. Oh, who am I kidding? I know you're an ace in the hole." And he's like, "A what now?" And like the ace in the hole is like a joke in the form of like, most people know it as like a hidden card under the sleeve, but used in the context she did, it's meant to be like a asexual individual. Like Alistair doesn't care about sex or anything like that. So the context of it's like, I know you don't swing that way. It's just a lot of that stuff. So I like the kind of details of stuff that they put in the thing. Oh my goodness, Molly. She just wants me to pet her so much right now.
No, pet.
She's very much in the affectionate mood, which I love. Like I love her. Just whenever we're doing like the podcast, her tail will just be all over the screen. Like, this causes issue. And then her hair gets all over my face, and I feel like there's stuff all over. I love her though. But yeah, awesome. I really like the show. Can't wait for next season. This has definitely motivated me to try and do Hell of a Boss on this at some point too, because I like the style of everything that is presented in the show. And I would love a reason to force you, if not have a catch up for Hell of the Boss. So it'll be pretty good. Austin, do you have anything you else want to say about Hazbin Hotel?
Not really.
You're good? All right, man. All right. Yeah. Love the show. Love the characters. Love Keith David. Keith David can't do no wrong in my head.
It's great. Had fun.
Man. And had very fun time. So Austin, thank you so much for joining us this episode of Hazbin Hotel. Next week, we are doing Cuphead, a show that Austin really likes. You played the games. I've never played the games. I played like 5 minutes of a game one time, but not enough to even say I played the game.
Well, I'll tell you this. The concept of Cuphead, the game, is only in the first episode.
Okay. And then they kind of like toss it and just create their own thing?
These episodes are very episodic. Like you could just watch an episode and be like,
solid. I like that. That.
There is like a small overarching story, but it's not really anything that you have to pay attention to.
That's kind of how it is. And that's perfectly good. I love those type of shows. So it would be fun to do it. And Cuphead is on Netflix if you have Netflix to watch it. If not, I don't blame you. It's freaking Netflix, Hulu, and Disney has really gotten people kind of upset. But that's what we're going to watch and talk about next week. Thank you all so much for joining us on this episode. And until next time, thank you so much for stopping by, and thank you so much for tuning in